Hello, we're live today from Miss Damn Jewelry. Hello, Daniel. Welcome to my channel, Miss Damn Jewelry.
Hi. We have to wait for the count.
Yeah, I haven't seen this yet.
The tubes or nobody will hear us.
I know. We're just sitting here talking amongst ourselves. Here we go. Oh, there we go. I see us now.
Okay.
Um, Welcome to all those who uh, wanted to come into the chat today and have a chat. Uh, we're going to kind of get right into it because there's going to be a lot of comments about it, I'm sure. I had another talk playing today, but I've now scrapped that because I don't know if you've heard, I don't know if you've watched the news. I just found out Queen Elizabeth II has passed away. And whew, I was a little, I wasn't surprised. Okay, I'll be honest. I'm going to talk about my feelings now. Sorry. I heard earlier today that she was not well, that her family was called to be around her, and that she was under medical supervision. And then about 5 to 10 minutes ago, I heard the news, and I that she passed away. And I thought, well, I can't not talk about it. And so we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about her life. We're going to talk about how I personally, me, and I'm not a royalist. I'm not, obviously, I didn't grow up that way. I didn't grow up with the royal family and whatnot. But I did when I moved over here. And I will say that regardless of what you think, she was an amazing, amazing woman. She saw a lot in her lifetime. If you say the word queen, you know you're talking about Queen Elizabeth
Mm-hmm.
II. You know, everybody, if I say, oh, the queen, no one's going, which one? Okay, well, maybe RuPaul. But apart from that, you're going to know it's Queen Elizabeth. Hey, Val. Hey, Marianne. Hey, Kathy, LaDonna, welcome. This is going to be a talk about Queen Elizabeth II. It's supposed to be about something else, but obviously, if you saw my promos, it was going to be about candy. But it's not about candy. I have to turn my fan on. I'm hot, and I don't know if it's because I'm upset or I'm middle-aged or whatever.
Both.
Both.
Yeah,
Oh,
both.
please. Keep
So
them entertained, Daniel.
I I also I'm very interested in to know as much as like what the mourning process is going to be and
Yes.
how they do, like over here they put them in state and all that type of stuff, and where they, are they going to let the public come and view the body? Where do they put her? Is it in, all that stuff? So
I
what you do know, because I know
what
this
I
is
do know,
a minute
right.
thing.
So yeah, let me put the daughters. See, now this is the kind of woman we're talking about. And she was not, to be fair, she wasn't born to be queen, if you know what I mean. In the line of succession, she wasn't born to be queen. Her uncle was. And he advocated, as we all know. Her father got it. He then passed away, and she being the first and heir, she became queen. And let me tell you, just because she wasn't born to do it, she did it with grace and dignity and style, I have to say. She really, really did. So, yeah. So I'm just looking, I have no notes, obviously, because this just happened. Well, I have notes, but not for this. Um, so I'm looking up what, because I've read it earlier, which uh, sounds really sad, but I did look it up. Hey, Heather. Um, so, uh, so when she dies, Her Majesty will, wherever she passes away, she passed away at Balmoral, which is in Scotland. She will be taken back to Buckingham Palace um, by train. Uh, that's the plan. If they can't do that, then it'll be airplane. But it's usually now every day after she passes. the day she passes will be D-Day, and then the day after will be D plus 1 day, D plus 2 day. That's how until the whole thing is completed. So the whole, till she gets there. So, um, the funeral will take place at Westminster Abbey, and there will be a national 2 minute silence on the day at midday. Um, so that's what will happen. He will. God, it's so. So what will happen is he can technically change his name.
Who,
He
Charles?
doesn't. Yes, to like King Alfred or King whoever, whatever name. Or I think he could keep his own name, but um. So I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just looking. Okay. So
It's
on the
fine.
day of the funeral itself,
We all understand. Breathe. It's okay.
on the day of the funeral itself, the London Stock Exchange will close, and all UK banks. Um, the day of the funeral and subsequent coronation will become national holidays.
Now, has since she has passed away, do you know, has he been made king
Not yet. No,
immediately?
it's no. There is he gets called handed was it Prince Regent or something? He gets called Prince Regent, or is that before? I can't remember. Either Prince Regent before or right after she passes away. Um, so I think they have like a ceremony, and hey Kelly, hey Sheila, thanks for coming in. Um, they have a ceremony, and I think I can't remember if it's before her funeral or after. Let's see, just looking up. Okay, here we go. The day after the Queen's death, known as D-Day plus one, the Ascension Council will meet at St. James Place to proclaim Prince Charles the new sovereign. So tomorrow.
Okay, got it. She was something else because just 2 days ago she was doing the prime minister thing, whatever she did
Yep,
with all the
Monday, on
prime
Monday.
ministers.
Yep,
Yeah,
it
I
was
mean,
Monday afternoon. They elected the new prime minister here,
and
and they had to go to Balmoral, which because that's where she went. She went to Balmoral in July for her holiday, but me and Dave feel like she knew, and she wanted to be there. I don't know this. We're not, she didn't tell me this, but I mean, Scotland is beautiful, and it was her. I think believe it was her favorite place. So because she had homes in like Norfolk and obviously all over the UK, but that's where I think she really liked it.
well,
So
and I read or I don't know where it came from, but wherever I got this, that's where she felt most like herself, that she could be herself at Balmoral.
I think so. Yeah. And she, Heather Elizabeth, literally found out right before I came on. I mean, it was like 5 minutes before I came on. And that's why I knew everybody was going to talk about it. And I thought, well, we might as well just go ahead and let's discuss it. Let's not, avoid the situation. It's life. It happened. And she's a very important figure in history here for the UK, in the world. She's still in charge of the Commonwealth, even though a lot of the countries aren't under her reign, they're still part of the Commonwealth. So, they're going to be upset. I just think here's the thing. Here's what I was telling Daniel earlier. It will be 100 years plus before there's a queen again. I mean, let that sink in. So, because um, obviously Prince Charles will get it, and then his passing uh, will be Prince William, and then his son, and then unless his son has a daughter, it's that's how it's going to be. So she was, like I said, wasn't born into it, but boy, uh, she could have been because she handled it with grace. You can say what you want. You could be, oh, I'm not a royalist, oh, royal family, but at the end of the day, you can't not acknowledge the fact that and you can say, yeah, they were rich, yeah, this, yeah, that, yeah. She still had she's like LaDonna said, she didn't miss a day. She was 3 days in her whole life of working. I don't care how rich you are. That's a long time. And she worked up till Monday, which is when she swore in the new prime minister. Yeah, Kathy, if she hadn't, yeah, I think that probably affected her. Her mom, the Queen Mother, lived to be 101. So that was like, she's got 6 more years. No. You know? But they do have longevity in their family. So, um, yeah, so the day after Queen's death, which would be tomorrow, the Ascension Council will meet at St. James's Place to proclaim Prince Charles the new sovereign. Um, and at 3:30, as stated in documents, the cabinet and the PM will hold an audience with King Charles. So the, it just goes on about how, it's very laid out. These plans have been laid out since the 60s. So what, like I was telling Daniel, what we heard today earlier that she wasn't well, they probably already knew. And there's a procedure in place to tell the media. And it's not like, oh, she just passed away, let's call everybody. It doesn't work that way. There's other people have to be informed first before anybody else knows. And like the prime minister, and so then eventually it's properly told to the media. But it was called Operation London Bridge. That's what it was called when the plans in place for her passing. That's what it was called. So it was all. It's not like it's just like, oh no, we got to call everybody. It was a plan in place.
Yeah,
Yeah,
LaDonna, you could
yeah,
tell on their faces that
yeah.
it
You
had
do. I
already
mean,
happened. You could tell that something had already happened. And
yeah.
also, I heard that. So was Prince Harry in England? Because they said he was on his way, or was he coming from
I
America?
think he's probably coming from California where he lives. And so yeah. So and look, the thing is, y'all just need to pull together now as a family. Y'all need to this. Y'all need to stop. Put your pettiness behind, or whatever. I'm not saying that Harry and Meghan were petty or their issues weren't real to them, but I think, oh, they might have been. They were in
That's
England
what
earlier this
I
month.
like. It sounded like he was in England and
Oh,
that
he
he
might have
was
been.
coming by himself. She was not coming with him.
See, this is where you need to come. Not that she. I mean, maybe she thought it was best. Maybe they thought it was best she didn't go. Let the family do uh, their mourning on their own.
I
Oh, he
don't.
was
I
in the
don't
UK for
think.
events.
I don't think the other one's wife was there neither.
No, I think it's like I mean, I say immediate family. They are, but I mean, like she just had like, they have things they do, ways they do things. Things are in place for this to happen. Oh, 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 Lizzie just spoke. Lizzie Truss. Uh-huh. Yeah, and that's how it goes. It works in that. I mean, there's a whole plan. If you look up the Independent newspaper online, you can see there's an entire plan and how they do everything to the minute. It's amazing, which
So
is
will
called
they?
Operation.
Do you know? Will they like? And they probably have already done this. I mean, throughout her career. But will they now issue like a special money or a special, you know what I mean? A special
No.
dollar bill for her, a
Oh,
special
commemorative dollar
holding.
bill. We
Yeah,
don't we don't have dollar bills.
yeah, I
Um,
know, but
we
I've
don't
used
have
it in
pound
my
notes.
English
Yeah,
term.
we don't have pound notes. We only have pound coins. Um, there'll be a lot of things to commemorate Queen Elizabeth II. I mean, I just think we should just name the whole country Queen Elizabeth II. I mean, let's do it. You know what I mean? I just because it's just amazing, y'all. I mean, maybe because I'm an American and I didn't grow up with it, it wasn't in my face all the time. I don't have a problem with it, and I love. I can't say anything about her I read. The other ones, not so much, but anything about her I read, I found was fascinated with her. The whole story of her, how she ended up queen, and it's just amazing. It's just
And
amazing, amazing.
where will she be interned at? I mean, buried at?
Uh,
Do they have a
sh-
special place?
Yes, they do. So the royal family, okay, the funeral itself will take place at Westminster Abbey, and there'll be a procession both in London and Windsor with a committal service taking place at St. George's Chapel. The Queen will be buried at the King George Memorial Chapel in Windsor. There's probably where her husband's buried. Um, so yeah, that's where she's going to be. It's going to. Uh, so obviously, it's a hard thing. Look, the country will be in mourning, no matter how you feel about it. The whole country will be shocked, saddened, not shocked, but like I said, her mom lived to be 101, and it was like, oh, you got 5 more years. um, and
Well, just
and if I'm
imagine
at a loss,
all the, I mean, all the presidents that she's been through and all
yes,
the changes world over that she's been through and even all the
yeah,
changes in England. I mean, it's a long time. She has I don't she's not she didn't make it to the longest reigning, did she?
she is oh yeah, she's the longest reigning
In the world?
in the UK. Let me see.
I think she there was somebody else that somewhere along the line I think was longer. And I can't remember how old she had to be to beat that. But I find that fascinating that she's been through all that, all the different world
Oh,
governments that
okay.
she's been through.
Uh, French King Louis the I guess it's the eighth X what XIV. I have no idea. He
14th.
served 72 years, and she served. I think she served 70 years, and he
Just,
yeah, just girl, you can just tell me else. Just tell me.
she did a good
She's
job
a
hanging on. I mean, she was there
yeah,
doing her work on Monday.
right, and yeah, the imagine the deal with in those 70 years. Exactly. Well, I mean, they went through while her father was king. They went through World War II, and London was bombed, and she was part of the I think with some type of was it a land army or something, where she went out and helped like clear rubble and help. I know you're like, well, she's royal, she's not going to get hurt. But at that time she was again uh, her father was king, and it was like everything was being bombed in London. Do you know what I mean? It was crazy, and she saw that. She saw apartheid end. She saw even though the British weren't involved in the Vietnam War. She saw that. She saw the Falklands. She saw. Do you know what I mean? It's just on and on. Yeah, Marianne. She had gotten the vid in February of this year and kind of felt. And so and I think she had told someone she hadn't felt right since. She felt extremely tired, but she was still doing stuff. Like she made it to her jubilee, and she, um, you know, she just I'm at a loss for words. I'm sorry. It was so it hit. I mean, I didn't not know it was coming, but I thought it'll happen at the weekend. It'll be peaceful, and all of a sudden it's like what? But like I said, they already knew, which is fair enough. They don't have to tell us this. I mean, they're not obligated to tell
Something
us
like
everything.
that, you would have to
Yeah,
keep it down
just
because
yeah.
I mean, like you said, they need to get the family, all the different leaders and stuff that need to
Mhm.
know things in the government before. I mean, um, yeah, it kind of didn't surprise me neither, not as far as me, but just from the pictures I had seen of her recently,
Yeah, she looks frail.
you could tell that she had declined just
Yeah,
from she become very frail.
yeah. I don't want to say I'm shocked, but I just think I just
You were hopeful that she's
I
going to keep
was.
going.
at least to 101. Uh, yeah, she didn't look good, and and then here's why, because there won't be another queen for 100 years, at least 100 years, and that makes me sad because I don't know. I just think a queen. I mean, no, look. Here's the thing: they don't get involved. They only get involved when it's absolutely necessary. Times war, uh, infighting and all that. And even then, they don't get involved in politics. But just it's just kind of just knowing mom was there. Mom was there to look after all of us. So yeah, that's kind of how it felt. Uh, yeah, yeah, exactly. There's no privacy at that time, and unfortunately, they absolutely know that. They absolutely know that they're going to be because they've dealt with it all their lives. Every little thing that goes off in the royal family, there's photographers, people that first time look at Princess Diana. She wasn't even, she didn't even feel married to the guy. you know, it's they're always in your face. And we do want to know, but we also I don't need every little detail. I don't need to know what shoes so and so was wearing when she went. I don't need to know. I just tell me that break down the tell me what happened. Tell me that she passed away, and then maybe after her funeral, then we could talk about the details. Let them have that 2 week period, or which obviously to me should be longer. But uh, yeah, he was never really a child. He has what do they call it? Um, what's that word? Uh, I can't remember it, but yeah, he was. I mean, he. I think she tried to make them. I think she tried to let them be children, but she also knew she was. Here's what I think. I think this is my personal opinion. When her father became king, it was not like what, oh, huh, and of course he took it. He didn't turn it down. He became king, and she, for the first, I don't know how old he was she 10 or 11 when uh he became king. So she wasn't schooled in that. So she wasn't born growing up going to be the queen. That was never on the cards for her until her uncle abdicated and her father got the job, stepped up to the plate, so to speak. At that point, she was already, you know, maybe a preteen. And so she had no formal training on how to be in that position because she knew it was going to be her. So I think this is just my opinion, when her kids were little, when Charles was born, she's like, I have to prepare him because I wasn't prepared. I need to prepare him for all the things he's going to have all the things he's going to have to do to be a king because he will one day. And I think that's why we think, it looks like he didn't have much of a childhood, or it wasn't the childhood, maybe we would have liked him to have or whatever. But maybe she did it thinking that was the best way to do things.
Well, you
You
also
know,
have to recall too there was a father involved.
pardon?
You have to recall there was also a father involved, and he was a
Yeah, and he was quite militant,
strict,
strict.
you know, from what I don't know. That's the thing. We don't know. We were not there. We hear things secondhandedly. So I don't know. Maybe he wasn't that way. It's just the way it's portrayed that
Yeah,
his father was a little more strict about things and not wanting anybody to be wimpy.
right. It's like military. You have to be men are a certain way, and which, back when he was born in 19, what was he born in 19? Uh, God, I, don't- before she became queen, he was born. So I don't know how old he is. He's 70. So that was first was a different time. Second of all, they were preparing him to be the inevitable, you know. So yeah, she did handle it with grace and dignity. She handled that role like I said, like she was born into it. Like this was her destiny, and that's pretty amazing. So, what do we know about her though? Well, she was born Elizabeth Alexandra Mary Windsor, on the 21st of April, 1926, in a house just off Berkeley Square in London, the first child of Albert, Duke of York, and second son of George and his. What? Oh, yeah. No, that doesn't make sense. Oh, oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Sorry. He was the second son of George the fifth. And the Duchess, former Lady Elizabeth Bowles Line. That was the Queen Mother. So 73. So 73. Yeah. So he was born 50. No, I don't know. So, so she has a sister, Margaret Rose, who was born in 1930. They were both educated at home and brought up in a loving family atmosphere. She was. Her father, uh, um, Albert, was very, very shy to the point of um, he had a stutter when he spoke. And he had to get, obviously, once he became king, he had to get, like, quickly get, you know, uh, lessons and speech therapy not to stutter because he was going to be addressing the public. So he was, again, because the brother had been primed all his life to be king, he thought, oh, I don't need to be as polished, do I? I'm not going to be king. And then it happened. So um, at the age of 6, Elizabeth had told her riding instructor she wanted to become a country lady with lots of horses and dogs.
She achieved that.
She did. She
I mean,
sure did.
Balmoral, that's where her horses, and she always had her corgis with
Uh-huh. So, yeah, she, it's just, so her dad became Edward. I see, I hate these little Roman numerals. I don't know what they mean. Sorry, y'all. I'm not educated in Roman numerals. uh, look it. Stop. So, her her grandfather George the Fifth, passed away, and his eldest son, known as David. See, they take different names when they're kings. The oldest son, David, became Edward the eighth. Sure. Uh, Obviously, he abdicated the throne, and her father got it. And so, it was it. She How old was she? I think she was 13. So you're talking about a 13-year-old girl who had never planned on being the queen. Her father gets the job. She's like, oh, you know what that means, right? And so then she got the job afterward.
Don't
So
worry, Sally,
she,
I'll learn all this.
huh?
Sally's saying I gotta learn if I'm gonna move it over there.
Yeah, you do, Sally. I mean, Daniel got to learn all this.
I know somewhat some things. We all do over
Okay,
here. We're kind of fascinated with the British royalty over there.
right.
And I think,
Yeah,
to be honest, Diana really brought it into the forefront. She brought
yeah,
all that forward and made it even more, um, even through all the stuff that happened. That's what
yeah,
made Americans really look into the British family and get that whole wedding thing and all that. It was such a fever about all that.
mm. And I think with Princess Diana, she was kind of a people's princess. Do you know what I mean? She liked the same music people her age did. And she liked the things they're gonna, and like the fashions, which was something. And because obviously she was a little bit before the internet, but it was televised everywhere. You'd see her, and you'd be like, oh, her hair, oh, her style, which really, I mean, it did happen, but it was mainly stayed here in the UK. Not it wasn't quite so across the world or the United States. And then just her whole story, Diana's story, was a fascinating tale. And then when she spoke out about, what had actually happened in her marriage, it's like, oh, you're a real person. We could connect with you on that level.
Well, I think that's what, she was she did silly things like we would do.
Yeah,
She also was very affectionate with her children. That was something you never seen before, all that type of stuff. But I'm telling you what, the queen and her style, especially in her latter years, I'm loving it. All those
yeah.
flowered print dresses with the hat. Oh, come on.
And she loved color. Do you know
I
what I mean?
know. Yeah.
Which I have to appreciate. She could have just been like, I think uh, Queen Victoria was always in black because she was still in mourning because her husband died. So you see that kind of queen, and which is the most modern queen before Queen Elizabeth in the UK. Very dour, but not dour, but very low key. And then you see Queen Elizabeth in like her, 80s, sporting that big old pink hat with a flower in it. I love it.
I love a good queen in some bright, beautiful clothes.
Yeah. And the jewelry. Oh, jewelry. It's amazing.
Brooches. God bless the queen and her brooches. You
Hmm.
never seen her without a brooch on. And
She knew how to do it.
some of those brooches are not just costume jewelry.
Oh, no.
I read about some of the brooches and I'm like, ooh, wow, okay.
So she, uh, her father died, I think, in 1952 when she was 25. And she says, in a way, I didn't have an apprenticeship, she later recalled. My father was much too young, so it was all very sudden, kind of taking on and making the best job you can. I mean, yes, I love that. I just had to get on with it, I just had to step up to the plate. And
Well, from
that's what I'm
what
saying. That
I've seen, they were over in another country somewhere.
they were in Kenya.
Up, and the next thing you know, hello, you're queen. I mean,
Yeah.
that I can you imagine just what that would feel like? Like you had just had a ton of weight placed upon your shoulders.
Yeah, again, you kind of knew it was going to come, but you thought you had time because your dad, like she said, she was going to do an apprenticeship with her father, and she was going to watch him work, because she got married in 1947, and then, I think she had Charles in 48, and then, you know, they went on to do their duties because, you know, the royal family have duties to go, which I mean is traveling, but going and representing the royal family in the Commonwealth countries. So she went to do that in Kenya, and then she wakes up and her dad's passed away. She's, what? You know what I mean? It was just very. So, like I said, she thought she had time, and she was such a pretty woman. She really, really was. And I mean, not that looks have anything to do with it, but she was a good-looking lady when she was young. I mean, she was. Look, hey, she looked good in all her colors and flowers and everything, and her floral patterns and her hat. She was always a lovely, but she was a real stunner when she was young. She really, really was pretty. And so she, people can say she's, and it's kind of, it's like an end of an era from 1953 to 2002, or sorry, 2022. God, I'm in the past. 2022. That- That's an era. That's an absolute, you know, amazing. She saw people using war bonds to live off of, and before she lived life before the NHS, and now you come to here where everything's on the internet. There's the NHS. There's all the technology. Can you imagine that span? And no, Ed would have never taken over. No, if anything, it had gone to his son.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had definitely gone to Prince William. If we kind of, me and Dave talked about this oddly enough today because when I told him that she wasn't well, he had heard the news. He said, "I." Dave's, I can't believe he's taking it. You think he just let his son do it? Because he said, I said, he waited a long time to get there. He gonna snatch that job right over. You know what I mean? Not to sound horrible, but I think they wouldn't go. There's no reason for them to go out of succession unless he was ill or he was something was wrong with him. Physically and mentally. There's something physically and mentally wrong with him that he couldn't do it. Then it would go to William. But I mean, at 73, I mean, compared to Queen, that's a whippersnapper. You know what I'm saying? He's young.
LaDonna's reading Operation London Bridge.
Yep. Hmm.
So the Queen's gonna rest in the throne room for 4 days, and then move to Westminster Hall, where it will lie in state until the funeral. So, are they allowing public viewings?
I'm sure they will. I'm sure they. I don't. I mean, that's gonna be packed house if they do. They're gonna have to, you know.
That's going to be like days long, and people will they will stand in line for that long.
Yes, apparently they are. Madonna says they are going to allow. They have before they've always done it before when they line state and public views. But it's like 10 days after she passes away. I mean, here, not being funny, no shade to the British, but they take a while to bury people here, or even cremate them. It takes a hot minute here. It does.
Well, especially somebody that's, you know.
Like, well, especially for her because there's a lot of things involved. That just mean everyday people, like, you know, it's so.
So, I have a question, and I
Yes.
don't know why I'm thinking this. So, with her death, does Balmoral go back to Scotland, or is it illegally owned by them? I don't know why I'm thinking that.
Okay. Well, Scotland is part of the UK, so uh, they haven't left yet. So it's part of her reign. It's
All right,
under her.
get comfortable here.
Okay. Oh, he's like, oh, they need to
I gotta
popcorn.
get comfortable.
Um,
Let's talk about this.
yes. The Balmoral stays in the family. Is that what you want to know? Yes. They own it. They own the estate. I'm pretty sure they own the estate. And it wouldn't go back to Scotland because it's already in Scotland. But she's a queen of Scotland, Northern Ireland, England, and Wales.
I
So,
know. It just seemed like there was something with Balmoral when she died. I can't remember what it was, but man, I'm
I
just
mean, it could
imagining.
be.
I could be
I,
just imagining it.
you were just hoping you'd get it right.
Yes,
Um,
because it's out in the middle of nowhere.
yeah, yeah. They're all of those are still part of the Commonwealth. Canada,
And
Australia.
I'm confused. How do they become king of Canada when Canada is its own nation now?
They're part of the Commonwealth. They acknowledge her, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like she's acknowledged as their not leader, but there's Commonwealth countries, and she used to reign over them. She doesn't so much now, but they are part of the British Empire. They were part of the British Empire. They're now part of the Commonwealth. So I think LaDonna explains it here. Well, let me click
Okay,
up her.
got it.
There we go. So everybody can read that. Um, and y'all are asking me like I know a lot. I don't really know that. I don't know the ins and outs. I know who I like and who I don't. Okay, that's
Yeah,
all I know about
that's
the
why
rest
I'm
of
at. That's what I'm saying. If you know that, but that to me doesn't make sense because if you got so mad that you wanted to be your own, ruling your own country, but then
I
you
don't
turn
think you're.
around and say, "Okay, I still recognize you as
I don't
queen."
think they were mad about it. I mean, so you're saying like they had a war with her to be sovereigns from her. That's not kind of how it happened. I think after years, it just made sense, and and to some degree, it looked good that the queen was like, right, you be your own people, and they still consider her their, not their leader, but they still recognize her as queen of, I don't know how it works. I don't live in a Commonwealth country. She's queen here as far as I know. Now be, now we're gonna have a king. And again, it was a lot for. I mean, I'm still shook. I'm shooketh, y'all. And not that I'm surprised. It's just that you do nothing can go on forever. I appreciate that. And but there's just not going to be anybody else like her. I mean, don't think get me wrong. I think Charles would be absolutely fine in the job, but he's not going to be rocking it. You know what I mean? Like he's not that he's not going to. Okay, let me. He's not going to be as. He's going to be memorable for different reasons.
Charles is not as outgoing and personable as what the Queen was.
Right. Yeah.
Charles has, because of what happened, some stains on him that people are not going to forget. Where, I mean, the Queen had some things, but people respected her despite whatever. Charles is a little. This is coming from a my perspective over here in the U.S. Charles is a
Yeah.
little tainted, not not that well received because of things that happened. So
Correct.
it's not like the Queen, where everybody absolutely loved the Queen.
I mean, you say the Queen, and you just like I said, you know, if you say the King, you're like, oh, what country? Who are you talking about? You're not like, and look, eh, some of it's, yeah, you're right. He won't be able to fill her shoes. Um, alleged, Kathy. Uh, you always put alleged in front of stuff you're accusing people of unless you have facts and don't want to be sued. Um, uh, so, well, I mean, the whole entire city of London allegedly does that too. So, there you go. Uh, but allegedly. So I just think that he's not going to be as like charismatic, like you said. He's not going to be as and he's also and it's not going to reign as long either.
Well, she just had a personality. He's not saying he doesn't have a personality, but it's not out there like the Queen, because we've seen the Queen everywhere. She went everywhere and did all kinds of things, and Charles is just you'd see him pop every once in a while, and that's about it.
Yeah, and here's the thing, Sandy. Uh, I think to some degree, a lot of his stuff was leaked. A lot of Prince Charles's stuff was leaked. The Queen ran a tight ship. He's like, you're not going to say. She was quite. She controlled what people knew about her, and being that big of a public figure, too right. You don't need to know my business. You don't need to know everything about me. You know these things as as I portray because this is my public persona. This is what I do. But this is who I am. So you need to know both. You need to know this because this is how I represent you. But this you don't really need to know. So I don't blame her.
Well, plus she came from.
Yes,
Let's remember, she came from a generation. That's what you did. You
yeah.
put
You don't talk about your
in
business.
place, and you did your business, and you did not share any of that stuff. That stuff was to be kept personal, and so that's another thing. Generations, the way they were raised, the way things were. She came from back then.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Um. So here's the thing. I mean, she was probably not dissimilar in private life, but I believe that, like you said, there's no reason for you to know X, Y, and Z about me when I am the queen. All you need to know is what I do. You know what I'm saying? They didn't need to know, you know, what she wore, what pajamas she wore, and what. It's none of your business. It's
I mean, I think that's why Balmoral was such a place for her, because she could put on
it's
her
remote.
called wellies, put her wellies on,
Yep,
jump in her vehicle that she couldn't drive that well, tear out across the
none of them can.
country, ride her horses, not have her fancy clothes on, and just be Elizabeth, and not have. She still had eyes on her, but not as many as
Well, she had
staring
security eyes on
and
her.
all.
Yeah, she didn't necessarily have the public eyes. And yeah, I would after that long in the public eye, you want to just lay around in your damn sweats. You, I mean, I want to lay around in my wellies, or I want to walk in my wellies in my raincoat with my kerchief over my head and just be with nature. I don't need to always be 100% on show for you, you know. And fair play to her.
Exactly. She
Fair
could
play.
walk out there and they were in the middle of nowhere. So she didn't have faces up against a fence, trying to see her, hollering everywhere she went.
Go
So
ahead, girl.
yeah, I, I and she was something else because let's all recall too, she had a crazy man that was in her bedroom
Yep.
and she
Yep.
calmly made it through that. I would have messed the bed up and I
I'd
would
hit
be
him with the.
screaming my head off. I mean,
I'd smack him with one of them big old candlestick holder.
she had a spine of steel.
She did. She did. And I think having gone through and watching your entire city be destroyed and people dying around you and during a war and seeing all that, you're like, well, I can cry or I can toughen up and get on with it. You know what I mean? I can do, I have two choices here. And as a leader and as a monarch, and at the time she wasn't when she first saw it when the World War II happened and she saw it all, she was a kid. She was a young lady, she's a young girl. She's like, I need to be prepared because this could happen again. And I have to be prepared for every eventuality. And she was. Hey Sheila, I'm so glad that you were on when I just found out right before we went on, so we changed the topic. Because people want to talk about it. People have feelings, people have thoughts, people, you know, have questions. I don't know if I can answer them because again, I'm not, all that polished up on the monarchy and I read a lot about it even before we knew she passed away, and just to go like, what happens if, and then I wanted to read it, and I just think that having gone through all that and having just so many things, having to watch your father take a role that he didn't ask for, and you knew he struggled with public speaking, and he was a very shy man. Then finding out he passes away while you're gone. Meanwhile, before that, you live through a war. You live through your city being bombed. Then your father dies. Then you become queen. Then you have children. Then you have all these things that happen, and you have to be a certain way. You can't crack under pressure. You can't. You have to be like, well, maybe inside, my stomach rolling, but on the outside, I'm gonna be stoic, and we're gonna deal with this. And man, if I could be one iota like her, I would. I just think. And like I said, and we're all there's times when people weren't fond of her. There's times when she possibly made faux pas, and we're gonna say, well, you're just talking about all the good things. Yes, because that's what you do when someone passes away. You remember them fondly. I don't want no one coming, don't come at me with what she did this, that. Yeah, I'm sure she did. A lot of people make mistakes. A lot of people don't make the right, like the whole Princess Diana thing. She got slammed over that when she passed away. When Princess Diana passed away, she got absolutely, dragged in the news and all that. She had she, why add more fuel to the fire? This was Diana's thing. This was for her. Why would the queen then show up and take it away from? What I mean? There's so many ways you could look at it.
I
Yeah,
This is just an off bit, but I also read a not about her, but a fascinating thing. Evidently, she had a lady who stood in for her when the queen wasn't there, as far as I guess getting ready for ceremonies or something,
a
or,
lady in waiting.
or pictures or something. I can't remember what it was, but she, when they needed like for the throne, I don't know if it was for pictures or what it was for. She had to hover. She couldn't sit all the way down because nobody else was allowed to be on the throne.
Oh yeah. Oh wow. Talk about.
So she had to like do a fake. have her. So I can't. I wish. See, I read these things and I totally forget what they're for, what they're about. But I read that and I'm like, oh wow, that's fascinating. It's kind of like in a movie they have stand-ins
Yeah,
for them while they're taking a break. Evidently, the Queen had a stand-in for I don't know what for.
right. Well, I will say she wasn't the long. Oh, well, apparently, I'm the UK ambassador for the vintage community. I accept that. Thank you. I accept that role, and I will take it on and try my best to bridge that gap. Thank you so much, Marianne. She was the longest reigning queen,
Mm-hmm.
and to me, that says it all. If you're the longest reigning queen, honey, yes, slay queen. You know what I mean? Like she's the longest living queen. And she was the longest living monarch, but as a queen, she was, and she wasn't just a queen in name. She was just like, I'm just a figurehead. I don't do anything. She did a lot, and she did. Whether you think she did or not, I feel like she represented the United Kingdom in such a classy way. She really, really did. I just think her, like Ladonna said, her grace and dignity through her whole life, through her whole reign of being the queen, has is pretty amazing.
So
In
there's
all
going to be
honesty,
like 2 weeks of televised stuff
sure, yeah, it'll
going
be
on.
on the news every day.
Yeah, and we talked about this before we came on. So a lot of England will shut down.
Yeah, yeah. So on the day of her funeral and the day after her funeral, like I think I said earlier, Parliament will be closed. The government will be closed. All banks will be closed. Uh, Most places. I mean, don't ask me about banks and supermarkets. Don't include. They may have reduced hours, like holiday hours, or they might not be open at all. There may be one full day where nothing is open, like the day of her funeral. Nothing. I think nothing will be open. And the day after, there may be. So you get the day of her funeral, the day after. So I mean, we got her birthday off, like at work. We got the Jubilee off. Um, and uh, so we'll probably get that off, and maybe we'll make a nice dinner for ourselves, and or maybe we'll just sit and think about and watch all
So
the things on the TV
London,
about her.
London's amount of people are probably going to double or triple.
Oh yeah, yeah, you're gonna get a lot of people coming to going to London to see. Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't going to be a madhouse of people, I would like to go. But I
And then
just
you're going to have all the heads of states coming in from all over the world too.
yeah, yeah, of course. And it's just, you know, times they are changing. I'm such, and I'm not saying Prince Charles is going to do a bad job. To be fair, to be fair to Charles or whatever his king name decides, whatever his name is going to be as king, um, he I have to say he's very into green policies, green energy, making saving wildlife and all. I have to say that that's not that that's important, but it is kind of important in this day and age at the moment with King Charles III. That's if he keeps if he keeps the name. He can also change his name, Tracy, to a different. We don't know until I guess. Oh, was announced. Okay, so it's gonna be King Charles III. I see. I don't think he should change his. I mean, I think he should keep King Charles because there's another King Charles for centuries. It's not like
So, okay, I'm confused. If they announced his name was going to be that already, but yet he hasn't formally been made king yet, didn't we just discuss
okay.
this? It's not till
No, he's
tomorrow.
still he'll be called that, but that's what he'll be referred to as. Does it? I mean, it's like saying, well, I'm not married yet, but I'll be called Mrs. Miller when I'm married. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like that. So you could, because it's going to happen. But there, yeah. The formal announcement is tomorrow. Yeah, and if the prime minister was see, that's part of the whole London Bridge policy, where they all know um, beforehand what what's going to happen. So if she said he's going to be King Charles III, she has been briefed.
You know,
Um,
we all need to stop and think too about Charles right now. Could you
oh, his yeah.
imagine thinking, how in the hell am I going to step into this woman's role and the things she did? And now I am to be put in this position and judged by her reign. I mean, I know Charles has been
Well,
prepared for this and all, but that has to be a little frightening.
you could be prepared for the moment. When the moment comes, are you prepared? And you have to also think his mother passed away. He has been with her, for I mean, 73. He said 73 years of his life, quite close to his mother. So now she's passed. You have to consider that he's also in mourning. I know they're all stoic and all that, but and it doesn't matter. You even though I prepared for it, if you never, even though you say you prepare for it, it still hits you like right here. You know what I mean? It still hits you. You're not no preparation and no I was prepared. No, it's still going to get you right in the gut. When your mom passes away, and I know it did me, and I'm not even royalty. You know what I'm saying? So you have to understand that he's also in mourning, and he can't even like. I just need a minute. I just need a minute, guys, to mourn. They're like, no, 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 you got to go now and do X, Y, and Z, which is hard. Yes, he's been prepared for it, but it doesn't mean that you don't feel some kind of way about it. So you have to understand that as much as that he's going to be king and he's a monarch, he still feels some kind of way. I think people forget that. I think whatever you feel about Charles, he's a man who just lost his mother. It has to work the next day. You know what I mean? He doesn't get. That's kind of how I look. You have to look at it kind of like that because exactly what's happening.
Mm.
So yeah, he's I don't think he'll do poorly. I don't think he'll be as, pizzazz as Her Majesty because she was great.
There ain't gonna be no fancy hats and fabulous frocks, I can tell you
Well,
that.
maybe Camilla will wear some. Maybe there's, hope.
She will never be like the queen.
No one will be.
See, that's
Never. You will
that's what's
never.
happening right now. Everybody is saying that she is never gonna be the queen.
Yeah, I mean, back off. Of course, she never. I mean, no, she's not. She's a queen. She's what, the king consort, or queen consort, whatever they're calling her.
I
She
have
doesn't.
to stop and think. Sorry, I'm moving on to like her wardrobe and stuff. I'm assuming that a lot of it will be like donated to museums or something.
Yes,
You know,
especially her most iconic looks. Do you know what I mean? Because there's some that are really
I do
chef's
not
kiss
think
iconic.
anybody else should be allowed to wear any of her clothes. It should all go into museums. They're
Oh, I
that
don't think anybody would want
fabulous.
to wear it. Yeah, there should just be a whole museum to her outfits and jewelry, and we can go to. Could you imagine? I would totally go to that. I would totally go see that.
Well, Sandy, some of those brooches are actually, what do they call the crown jewels? They're
Crown jewels, yeah,
they're not going anywhere. They are
yeah. Yeah,
they.
I'm getting all the costume jewelry. No, I wish. So warehouse, yeah, I just think they should be on display. I think she had some really iconic looks. If you look at photos of her, like, and you see a photo, you're like, yes, I remember that outfit. And yeah, and I just think that they should all go into a museum where I can pay. Well, I mean, museums here are free, unless it's a specific exhibit. Museums here are free. So I would love to go and just be like, just see all her clothes, and then a little story about where she wore it, and so. That's today's chat, y'all. Sorry, it wasn't going to be what it was going to be about. Sorry, it was last minute change. Sorry, I didn't have my notes, babe. But I'm
Yeah, but
glad. You know what?
we all wanted to talk about her. We all did.
We
So
did. We did. And I'm glad that I can talk to you guys about it. My friends, in the chat, and we can all commiserate together. You know, we all can sit here and talk about, will Camilla be a queen? Never in the mind of, no, people won't. And I mean, people won't think that, but I mean, yeah, you let it go, Elsa. You know, come on, it happened a long time ago. She's married to him. It's the end of, that's it. Um, but he's going to look to them. Oh, hang on. But I'm just glad I was able to come in the chat today. I'm not glad that it happened because I'm telling you, I was gutted when I found out. But I'm glad I was able to talk to you guys about it, and I'm glad you don't expect me to know everything. I don't. And yeah, so we have to. I love her outfits, and I'm just glad I got to be here with you guys during this time because I'd have lost my mind if I, had to didn't have a way to have an outlet for it. Except poor Daniel, he'd have to hear it for hours. So,
I'm fine with that. I could talk about her all day long.
and all right, guys, so we're gonna let you go at the top of the hour. Remember to like, thumbs up. I know it's not really a thumbs up kind of day, but leave me a thumbs up. And thank you so much for being here with us today on what is feel like is a sad day. And thank you, Daniel. Don't forget, next week our live chat will be on Daniel's channel. And if you have any memories of her that you want to leave in the comments after this has, aired, go ahead. Feel free. Put it all in there. Put all your thoughts and, things you want to say about her to in the comments because I will look at them and I appreciate it. Hi, Mike. Sorry it's too quick. I know it's too quick. It's too quick. It's gone too soon, Mike. What are we doing here? All right, guys. I'll let you all go back to your days and try to have a happy day anyway. And we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.